got himself a chance. Can the Force roll back the years and claim a 7th PDC ranking title, or will Peter Wright make it 3 titles in a matter of weeks? I'm Dan Dawson, Chris Murphy,
100.
alongside me for the final here in Barnsley. It is Snakebite versus the Force.
Yes, thanks, Dan. Justin Pipe appearing in his first PDC final for just over 4 years.
104.
Peter Wright appearing in his first for just under 4 days, having won the German Masters on the World Series at the weekend. And it has been a long time coming for Justin Pipe, and his form really
46.
turned halfway through this season with a run on the European Tour when he was kind of crowd surfing, wasn't he, after winning a last 16 match in Germany. Peter Wright
100.
went through the first few months of this season without winning a title, but all of a sudden, as you just mentioned, he's won 3, or he's won 2 rather. He's on the precipice of winning 3 this afternoon.
134.
Just beaten the man that he won his first of the season with in the semi-finals in Gary Anderson.
Well, you can look at the stats, you can look at how these two have played all day, and Peter Wright is the standout player. There's no question. He's been the best player so far today, and that 180 is his 22nd of the day, which is a lot.
Yeah, more than anyone going into the match with Anderson. Many would have been surprised to hear that Peter had hit more maximums.
135.
But this is the kind of range that Wright has been clinical in throughout this tournament and throughout the last 5 years or so. They almost kind of swapped places a few years ago, Wright and Pipe. Will come back to that point, but here he wants double 13 to break.
55.
Similar kind of shot for Justin Pipe. 18 segment for him. Staying there. Oh, no. It's just died and dropped and fallen into the fort. And it means he doesn't even get a dart at the bullseye.
32.
But a miscount. We had plenty of that in the semi-final between Wright and Anderson.
Game shot.
But Wright tidies up and does break in leg 1. This is exactly what he did in the semi-final, and then just defended it from there. Got another one towards the end of that match. And he's drawn first blood here.
Well, you look at the stats, you think there's only one winner. Because so far today, Peter Wright, who is now trying to drag his average up massively, he's averaged 101.26 going into the final for the whole day. That is 10 points more than Justin Pipe. Pipe, so far this year in the Players' Championship Series, he's had 2 averages over 100. Peter Wright has had 3 today. But it's a one-off game. And we know, look, we've seen
100.
today, Michael Smith averaged 100 in his first round game and was beaten by somebody averaging 10 points less than him. It's not about averages, it's about taking the right shot at the right time. And particularly in the semi-final against Ron Meulenkamp, Justin Pipe pulled out a couple of ton-plus checkouts at really crucial times. You think he's going to need more of that against Snakebite, who is playing really well today.
Well, just to highlight how their careers have kind of changed hands in the last half a decade.
100.
Justin Pipe won the last, or the most recent, of his 6 PDC titles in 2014. Peter Wright won his 3rd that year. In fact, his 3rd title came against Justin Pipe in 2014.
98.
Peter has now got 23 PDC titles. 20 since then.
Well, I have maintained for quite some time now, as Peter Wright looks at the bullseye for a 1-2-1 finish. Well, surely he's not thinking of laying up here. Of course he isn't.
96.
Let's just see if Pipe can take this. Treble 19 leaves the bullseye. Not going to get a go. And Snakebite, I think he's going to go 5 for double 10 here. It's been a recent thing for him. He used to be a 9 for double 8 man, but seems to have changed his MO.
The problem with the shot is if you hit the 10, You've got to get over the dart in the single 5. He's gone outside, so he doesn't have that to contend with here.
Game shot.
And he does double his lead. Yeah, I'm not sure about that shot, but Snakebite made right on it.
Well, he's been winning titles with it, so fair enough. And in actual fact, it's the 888 that was central to the point I was about to make. I think Peter Wright, when you look at the number of TV finals he has been in, and the number of times that he has been beaten by Gary Anderson, Michael Van Gerwen, and Phil Taylor,
140.
and he's been close. He should have won the Grand Prix last year against Michael Van Gerwen. He definitely should have won the Premier League against Michael Van Gerwen in 2017. And he's been close in other finals as well. The Champions League, of course, against Gary Anderson last year. Now, if he'd picked up 1, 2, 3 more big titles, you would immediately be talking about Peter Wright as one of the greatest to have ever thrown a dart with the haul of major
60.
titles that he's had. But as it is, all he's got, I say all he's got, is the UK Open and a couple of the World Series wins. And people can overlook that. But he has genuinely, for a number of years now, been incredible.
140.
Yeah, for all those TV wins, it is one singles major title, isn't it, as you would call it? He, of course, won the World Cup with Gary Anderson as well for Team Scotland.
And was the best player there. Didn't lose a game at all over the course of the tournament as Pipe looks at double 12. And
shot.
Pins it. That's a great 11-dart leg from Justin Pipe to get himself into this final. Well, it's already gone better than the last final that Justin Pipe was in, because the Dutch Darts Masters
93.
over the summer of 2015, where he'd carved his way through the field, not exactly carved actually, sort of struggled his way through the field. It was similar to this. Van Gerwen was averaging over 100 for the tournament. Pipe was averaging around about the 90-91 mark, and Van Gerwen did not give him a single leg. But Pipe here, he is trailing 2-1, but he's averaging more than 110.
140.
Justin Pipe has lost the last 3 meetings between the pair. Hasn't beaten Peter Wright since the autumn of 2016. Was here in Barnsley.
Yeah, curiously, that was the day that he made a semi-final, the last time he made a semi-final, so it was a big day for him.
91.
The final was contested between Dave Chisnell and Benito van der Pas, another man who's suffered a slide, a slump in form. He won that final that day, 6-1 against Chizzy.
180.
Snake bites. Piles in another max. 24 for the afternoon now.
That is 3 180s in 4 legs for Peter Wright. Oh, that's so frustrating for Justin. Can he force that one underneath it? Well, it would have been a wonder shot.
But he's also averaging more than 3 a match, isn't he, Peter Wright? As he looks at 88 here, doesn't have to bother with the ball. Wouldn't have had to bother with it anyway.
74.
Well, it could get a little tricky here for Peter Wright. Let's just see if Justin can pile some pressure on.
He should do from there. And the first dart was perfect for him. And it's no surprise to see him fill it up. And it's a bit of a dead cat shot, really, just as almost a distraction to Peter Wright, leaving himself double 15.
Or distraction. Or destruction. All right. Saves his snaky skin on double 2.
$100.
Well, he's a brave man there, Justin.
Yes. Shades of Simon Whitlock in Prague. Remember that one?
I do, yeah.
130 for the match, and it threw one dart in the single 20 that knocked the treble out. Didn't get a dart at the bull to win, and the wizard went through.
And who knows what might have happened with Justin Pipe, because, look, we've seen it over the last 4 months. He's been playing darts that have been good enough to win games and go on runs. And look at this. I mean, Justin Pipe, that's his second 180. He's approaching 20 for the day. He is still averaging huge amount more than 100. In fact, more than 110 still in this match. But Peter Wright is 3-1 up because Peter Wright is all day. He has been, I mean, ever since the third round, where he demolished Dimitri Vandenberg with 113 average. It's just been superb from him.
Well, for the first half of this Players' Championship season, or the first half of the events we've had so far, the most frequent result for Justin Pipe was a first-round defeat.
24.
And all of a sudden, he had that run in late March at the European Open, and he's hardly suffered a first-round defeat since.
And that was the same
58.
week where he suffered the death of his father. It is baffling, it is heroic, but something has changed for Justin Pipe, and it has to be in his mindset or his approach or something.
99.
But since that week, things have started to get better for him on the dartboard. And he's just fired in a 13-darter there that keeps him in touch with Peter Wright, who is averaging 100, but that is 14 points less than Justin Pipe right now.
100.
Yeah, just to highlight that point further, in the 8 Players' Championship events before that run, he lost in the first round in all but one. Since that run, he's lost in the first round in one.
86.
And there have been runs to quarterfinals, lots of last 16 runs. Obviously, today's run to the final. Something is just, it's chalk and cheese.
140.
Yep, time machine darts from Justin Pipe. Will his time come again? Twice a quarter-finalist at the World Match Play, but will not be there next week. Peter Wright has
100.
been in the mix at the Match Play for the last few years. Semi-finalist last year, finalist the year before. He'll take on Vincent van der Voort on Monday night in Blackpool, and he might be going with many more titles under his belt
180.
than he would have thought a few weeks ago.
Well, the one thing that you can't accuse Peter Wright of is not having faith and confidence in his own abilities. The entire last 18 months, when people have said, 2017 was your incredible year, how many more things are you going to go and win? Or now they're starting to say you're defending lots of money, how are you going to cope with it? He's never batted an eyelid. He is completely confident.
41.
He even says, if I don't throw another dart for the rest of the year, I'm still going to be just about in the top 10. It's not the end of the world. And I've got no money to defend at the Worlds for the last 2 years. I could end up higher in the rankings than I ever was.
99.
Phil Taylor used to say if Snakebite doesn't make world number 1, he needs to kick up the backside.
Game shot.
Well, it doesn't seem to need one this afternoon. Just keeping hold of that breaker throw advantage. Peter Wright averaging 102, leading by a couple of legs. That is still 9 points behind Justin Pipe, by the way.
140.
Well, this is astonishing because Peter Wright he's not bossing this final, he's leading this final. But Justin Pipe appears to be
100.
having fantastic visits, which lead to absolutely nothing. This reminds me of when Chris Dobie played Michael van Gerwen in a Pro Tour final, and Dobie averaged 110 and only got one leg.
60.
We have got the final that has kind of reflected the day here in Barnsley, because in the first round, exactly half of the 32 seeds were beaten. So you've got Peter Wright, a big name, a title winner, world number 6. And then Justin Pipe, who's been languishing in the darting doldrums for some time, an unseeded player. Sure, Justin Pipe will have been.
180.
In fact, I'm certain he would have been a number 1 seed in tournaments like this in years gone by.
Well, he went to the Players' Championship finals as a number 1 seed, of course. Minehead, place where he's made 2 semi-finals, I believe.
57.
One at the Players' Championship finals. No, both at the Players' Championship finals. 3 times. There we go. So yeah, he's a 4-time major semi-finalist with his Grand Prix run as well. But if you go, the point you made at the start of this, where back in sort of 2012, 2013,
83.
Justin Pipe was the leading light of these two. I remember Mervyn King, who knows both of these guys very well. He used to play pairs with Peter Wright, but who was Mervyn King talking up as a potential major winner? It was
60.
Justin Pipe. It wasn't Peter Wright.
Double 19. Not the worst double for Justin to go straight for, because he can land one on top of that and into the bed.
No score.
Hasn't quite worked out like that, and Wright could pick his pocket.
Well, he took out two of these massive checkouts earlier on against Glen Durrant. He could produce another here. A wary Justin Pipe was looking on from the back of the
100.
booth there. I think he feared that was going. He's going to have another crack at this. And he gets
Game
it this
shot.
time, Justin Pipe. And he will not let Peter Wright get too far ahead of him. This is a magnificent rearguard action from Pipe.
$51.
It's incredible for Pipe to peak in this final. He has had a couple of tumpless averages before today, but only a couple across all the
84.
matches he's played. That was 39 before this afternoon. He's not threatened to do anything as good as this at any point all year.
Well, on one of those, he averaged. It was 104 average almost. It was against Gerwin Price. He lost the game.
45.
That was one of his first round defeats. And I remember him saying, because it was just before that weekend on the Euro Tour, he said, "I'm playing well. I'm just not getting the results," which I've heard before. But he was right.
23.
Well, it's an interesting point about that match against Gerwin Price, because Pipe lost to Gerwin Price despite that 104 average in the first round. He then met Gerwin Price again in the first round the
180.
next day, lost it 6-5. Price won both of those tournaments.
Yeah.
And today, Justin Pipe has beaten Gerwin Price in round one.
Yeah. Well, maybe. When Price meets Pipe, whoever wins the whole thing. Because that is 180 number 4, his 21st of the day, and Justin Pipe might be about to break back and level this game up. And then effectively, it's a 1-4 matchup with Pipe having the
52.
darts.
Yeah, real slip from Peter Wright as well there, the mistake. Going into the treble 4 has allowed Pipe another visit, even if he doesn't clean it up here.
94.
Well, I think Justin would almost prefer to have a look at double 10 than double top with the way his darts lie, because, as you pointed out with the double 19, he can
95.
build up into that double on the bottom half of the board. But this is where it gets tricky.
Has to attack it, and that's the problem for Pipe. Needs to go left. He went right, caught the
10
flight,
scores.
and now Peter Wright could make the most of it. He's survived a scare in this leg. First time his throw's really been under threat. But double 12 would keep the advantage in Peter Wright's
Game
pocket.
shot.
That was a big chance.
A huge chance, but Peter Wright, those 2-3 dart combination checkouts, the old Phil Taylor checkouts, you take those out consistently, it wins you games, it wins you tournaments. And Peter Wright
85.
knows that. More than 20 titles to his name. He's hoovered up titles in Barnsley and Wigan and Milton Keynes and Crawley, all of these places. Crawley was where he beat Justin
36.
Pipe to win his 3rd PDC title.
It has been an exciting day of action, of course. All eyes on the big TV tournaments. We've just had
96.
World Series events in Las Vegas and Cologne in Germany, and then the big one in Blackpool coming up next week. But there have been some magical moments here this afternoon.
60.
Kyle Anderson producing a perfect leg in round 1, in leg 1 of that match. All those shocks early on today, and it's a very interesting, intriguing tale that is being played out today and tomorrow for the
40.
players particularly that are in Blackpool, because most of them have turned up to these tournaments and are kind of the likes of Gary Anderson in particular looking at practice, getting the arm going again before the match play. But someone like Peter Wright could be going there with bags more confidence than he might have had he not turned up this week.
Well, I would imagine when you're drawn in the first round against Vincent van der Voort, if you smashed him up 6-1 in a Pro Tour quarter-final less than a week before you face him at the match play, that gives you some sort of psychological edge, does it not?
I'll put you on the spot, Dan, as our resident expert. Do you think that Michael van Gerwen made the right decision to not enter these tournaments based on his recent form?
100.
I think you can probably read a bit too much into his World Series games. Yes, they've been slightly baffling, the manner in which he's lost those matches against Martin Schindler and Michael Smith.
140.
But I don't think you'll see him anywhere near as unfocused when it comes round to Blackpool.
Well, of course, Van Gerwen has Steve Beaton in round one, a man who he hit a 9-darter against 7 years ago now at the Seaside. Treble 19, double 12 for Pipe to end this leg. Double 6 has to go. I feel it has to go. And it hasn't gone.
69.
And now Peter Wright could move himself to the brink of victory here.
Pipe was relying on that double 6 in the semi. Really helped him out. And look at him just peering over Wright's shoulder, and it's inevitable because once again Peter Wright takes out a 2-dart combination with the minimum of fuss, and Pipe is still averaging 103. This could be the highest average Justin Pipe has thrown all year.
140.
But Peter Wright, that's the difference between them. It's not the averages, it's when Peter Wright has stepped up needing 78, needing 65. They've just gone. And Pipe has been there ready to take advantage, and he's not been allowed.
140.
Yeah, Peter Wright has done everything that he's needed to do all afternoon. In fact, you look at the players that he's played today, it's one of the hardest runs to a Pro Tour final that you could get over the course of a season. Mark McGeaney in round one is a tough draw. Then Kim Huybrechts, Dimitri Vandenberg, who he demolished with 113 average. Glenn Durrant, who he had to come back from 4-0 and 5-2 against. Vincent van der Voort, and then Gary Anderson.
Yeah, and it's not like he's caught them on off days either.
120.
That's unfortunate, because Peter Wright, so far today, his opponents, their combined averages against him are more than 97. Now, I know that it is inflated because Peter Wright's been playing brilliantly, so they're getting a lot of scoring visits, not getting loads of darts at double. But even so, Mark McGeaney had a higher average than him. Kim Huybrechts was right there with him. It was 100 average from Vincent van der Voort, and Vincent only got one leg. That just shows you that Peter Wright has not only been playing brilliantly, but playing brilliantly whilst being put under pressure, just as he's been doing in this final here.
It might be a way back for Pipe if Wright can't take this out, if he misses the ball. But he doesn't miss the ball. He does not give Justin Pipe a chance.
This is the Peter Wright of 2017. This is the sort of stuff that Snakebite was doing on a weekly basis as he won a double digits in the number of titles. He was dominant in the early stages in the Euro Tour. He was dominant in the UK Open qualifiers. He won the UK Open. And he ended up winning the German Darts Masters for the first time at the end of that year as well. He's won that title back just a few days ago, and he is producing
42.
This sort of stuff. And when he won the UK Open, he should have won the Premier League that year. That spell there, I think he was the best player in the world for a good 3-month spell. If Peter Wright can get back to that, maybe a first Betfred World Match Play title could be his in the next week and a half.
Darting dreams being lived out. The working class heroes of the hockey. Peter Wright was, let's have it right, seen as a bit of a joke. 6 or 7 years ago, a journeyman PDC player who had colourful dreadlocks
92.
attached to his head and was fitting tyres for a living. Justin Pipe, a former tree surgeon. Look at them now.
It wasn't that long ago that Justin Pipe seriously considered walking away from the game. He was talking at Ali Pali after a first round defeat as he looks at the treble 18 here. It's not going to go, but he is going to have another crack. He was talking about maybe going back to working as a tree surgeon. He made good money doing it. but he stayed on for days like this. And this could open doors for Pipe.
81.
The door's not yet shut in this final.
Game shot.
Justin Pipe gets a fourth leg on the board. And yeah, Peter Wright is the poster boy, isn't he? He's the inspiration for players of the more veteran stars to resurrect their careers. Gary Anderson, another one. Look how long it took him to win a first world title and the heights that he's reached since then.
Quite. Well, I mean, Gary Anderson was a player who he seemed destined from a relatively young age that he was going to go and do incredible things. It just took him a long while to do it at the Worlds. Peter Wright only really became a top player in his 40s. Justin Pipe himself, I mean, he played darts and then went away from the game. He didn't want to be in the smoky pubs playing it.
And sometimes people question the impact of these behind closed doors floor tournaments. Of course, the players need to play in them to qualify for the big tournaments. But that year, when Peter Wright went and reached the World Championship final, lost to Michael van Gerwen, had chances to make it much closer than it was. In the end, Peter Wright had been picking up 91 floor titles, and the Euro Tour wasn't what it is today. Didn't have all the opportunities to play on the big stage so often, and he gained a lot of confidence by beating the best players in the world and picking up titles on the floor.
Justin
81.
Piper said it himself. It takes you a couple of years to learn how to win on the floor, then a couple of years to learn how to win on the stage. The Euro Tour has changed that. You get more opportunities to figure out how to be a big stage player, but you have to learn how to get the job done in tournaments
100.
like this. And Peter Wright is going to have a look at the 170 to try and get the job done in this one. And if he does, it would be a fitting way to do it, because he has been incredible today.
45.
Well, there may have just been an opportunity for Justin Pipe there, but he hasn't grasped that chance. Wright is not going to finish with the fanfare shot, but Pipe is going to have to produce something special of his own to stay alive in this decider.
He's done this a few times today, Peter. I think he might be a bit paranoid about
98.
getting the numbers wrong. It seems pretty straightforward, but he leaves himself one of those two darters he's been taking out with regulation here. Can Justin give himself a dart to save his skin? Is it there?
87.
Oh, my word. I thought it was in.
Well, his dart blocked our view, but all he can do is watch on and witness Peter Wright. Well, he's found 20 there, 52 left. He's gone 12 for double top.
32.
And it's over the top, and Justin Pipe has the chance to break the throw here and get a little bit closer to Wright in this match.
Game shot.
The Pipe dream is still alive.
That is the first time that Justin Pipe has broken Peter Wright's throw. If he can hold here, there is just one leg in it. Dave Chisnall and Glenn Durrant, that went all the way to a last leg decider.
59.
Harry Ward and Max Hopp, that went all the way to a last leg decider. They're the only two finals in the Players' Championship Series this year which have gone to a 15th and deciding leg.
100.
Justin Pipe is averaging more than he has averaged in any single game in the whole series of Players' Championship matches that he's played so far in 2019.
134.
But he might have to find a 12-darter somewhere, maybe two, to stop Peter Wright.
Well, Pipe needs to do to Peter what Peter did to Glenn Durrant earlier on.
100.
But he's still in it, he's fighting.
Well, irrespective of what happens,
39.
and that might be a fatal blow for Justin Pipe's hopes. It's been a heroic run and an incredible performance in the final from him, and an enormous amount of positives to take
100.
from today. It's just a shame that there's only a couple of Players' Championship events in the next couple of weeks after tomorrow.
Yeah, I do hope, even if Justin Pipe is on the wrong end of
133.
the result here, that he hangs around and you manage to catch a couple of words with him, because
Yeah,
it
definitely.
really is a story. The resurrection of the Force.
177.
Absolute perfection in the setup shot, and it forces Justin Pipe to produce perfection to stay alive, and he cannot do it on this occasion. And Peter Snakebite Wright will get match darts to take the title, his first ranking
100.
title of the year, to add to his World Cup and World Series victories.
Just weeks ago, had not picked up a win,
Game shot.
and now he has 3. Peter Wright takes the title here in Barnsley, defeating Justin Pipe, who appeared in the final for the first time in around 4 years. A wonderful story for the Force, a nice sign of respect between the players, an emotional day, I'm sure, for Justin Pipe, who's returned to the final of a PDC tournament. But Peter Wright picks up his first ranking title of 2019. What timing ahead of the World Match Play, and Danny's downstairs. I hope to have a word with both players.
Okay.
Is it a heater?
It's a heater, it's a light. I want to speak to both of you. We're talking into that camera there. Peter, you come on this side. Come stand here. Just in here. First off, Peter, congratulations. 3 titles now. We said when you won the World Cup, it could be the start of you picking up a number of titles. That's happening, isn't it?
Yeah. But they're not quite the same darts as I changed the points from the weekend because I needed to try and score more and be more consistent.
Well, it's worked, hasn't it? I mean, the number
It's
of
worked well. I've had to be
100
today.
averages all day, pretty much.
Yeah, most of the day, yeah. Most of the day I've had to, I've played some fantastic players all the way through, and then obviously playing Justin in the final is, it's good to see old Justin, not old Justin, but Justin who's been working very hard, getting his game back. He missed a couple of chances earlier on. He let me off, and I capitalised.
Look, this man winning a second title in a matter of days is a story, Justin, but you being here in the final is a massive story itself. And things over the last 4 months, they've just suddenly got better for you on the dartboard.
Yeah, well, when I was on my way up, me and Pete, we used to practice together. And